Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Sports Exchange. My name is Scott Morgan, Motor City Mad Mouth, and we have Mel Farr. What's going on, Mel?
How's it going?
Doing all right. We got Rick Curti.
Hey, guys. How are you?
All right, you ready to talk some football, among other things?
Ready.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, let's stay in your neck of the woods, Mr. Curti, and talk about Teddy Bridgewater and Matt Rule. They're doing some pretty good things to the Carolina Panthers, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. I remember people were so angry when Cam left, and they were mad at Tepper for getting rid of Ron Rivera. I was happy because it was time for a change. It was time for those two to move on. It's just time, and we needed something fresh, something new. And Matt Rule's been one of the hottest coaches in college football. He turned around Temple. He turned around Baylor for going through all these horrible sexual allegations. With Art Briles, turned them around, and he came to the pros, and people were just like, well, you know what, if we don't do good, maybe we get the number one pick and get Trevor Lawrence. And I think people were hoping they would be that bad. They're not. They're really good. Bridgewater's great. Their defense is doing great. They're the surprise team of the year right now in the NFL, and people are really excited for this new Panther squad.
Yeah, they're doing it without Christian McCaffrey, too. So
yep.
That's what makes it even more interesting.
And Kuechly's gone, and Greg Olson's in Seattle. So they lost some very key parts to their franchise, and they're playing great.
What's your take on it, Mel?
Yeah, I mean, I like what they're doing. Carolina is a surprise, honestly. With Cam leaving, with the number of departures that they had, whether it be voluntarily or involuntarily, and of course with McCaffrey being hurt, it just tells you, there's some quality individuals that just need opportunities, and it's good to see somebody go through it like he has and work his way up through the ranks and eventually earn himself an opportunity to coach at the highest level. Somebody down in Dallas should take note of this, and maybe that's a path that he should consider. I know he did it a long time ago when he did it with Jimmy Johnson, and that turned out to be pretty good for him. As a matter of fact, he's still he's still running away from the ghost of Jimmy Johnson. So I'm happy for Carolina. The folks in Carolina. Obviously, I don't really have a dog in the fight there, but it's nice to see them playing good football.
All right, well, you talked about Dallas. Let's go. That great segue, Mel. Dak Prescott turning down $30 million during a pandemic. Now he's out for a while. Andy Dalton's in. So let's talk about the Dak Prescott. Should he have taken the money when it was there, or did he make the right call to bet on himself?
Well, hindsight's always 20/20. So, I mean, we can sit here and say, yeah, he should have taken it. If he would have known he was going to get hurt, yeah, he probably would have taken it. But still, he had to bet on himself. The probability, the likelihood of him having this type of an injury was very, very small. So
right.
He took a gamble. Unfortunately, it may cost him, but it may still end up working out in his favor. I mean, obviously, this is something that he can come back from. It's not an arm. It's a leg. He wasn't the most mobile quarterback. He had a little bit of mobility, but he wasn't the most mobile quarterback. But I believe he'll come back. He'll come back, just as good, if not better, once he's all healed up. But it could work in his favor, depending on, how well the red rifle performs during this time period. And might give Jerry Jones, he might have an opportunity to see that, that he has the best option at that position. He doesn't want to commit to Dak. He just wants to continue to, maybe just put a ring on the finger and be engaged to Dak and not really commit to Dak and go ahead and fully commit to him and give him that big contract. And so he's had a wandering eye. This gives him an opportunity to satisfy that little wandering eye. And we'll see what happens here in the remainder of the season.
Well, next year, though, if he does come back and they don't do a long-term deal with him, that's a cap hit of about $38 million for the Cowboys. So it would be in their best interest to go ahead and sign him to a long-term deal. And
they won't take a hit at all. I mean, if they let him go, they won't take any hit.
Well, true.
They let him hit the free agent market, they won't take a hit.
True. Well, I mean, but if they do keep him back and they don't want a long-term deal, I agree with you, they probably won't. But, with all due respect, it'll get expensive. You know, the salary cap we know is going down after COVID-19. We know that. So,
Right.
you know, so if Dallas were smart and they are as interested as they seem to think they're going to keep him, you work out a deal with him so he doesn't lose as much money. Rick, what are your
The
thoughts
thing
on
is,
that?
it doesn't get any cheaper. They keep
Right.
waiting. It doesn't get any cheaper. He could have had this deal done in his third year. In Dak's third year, they could have had it done at a much lower rate. Every year, this keeps getting more and more expensive.
I agree. Oh, that's true. All right, Rick.
Well, I can't feel sorry for somebody that turned down $30 million multiple times. I would criticize Dak Prescott for not taking the money, and people are like, "Oh, he's worth it," and I'm like, he wants Aaron Rodgers type of money, and he wants, and Rodgers has won a ring. He's proven himself. Dak, he's not up there yet. He's not an A-list quarterback. Maybe like a B, but not an A-list. But he's with Dallas, so he gets all the publicity, and he's done well. But he wasn't worth no $30 million. And now look at him now. He's definitely not going to get $30 million where he goes. To me, he was never worth it. So that's what happens. He should have just taken the offer. He turned down multiple offers like that. He should have taken it. I would have taken it, but he wanted more years. I think they were going to offer him a 4-year. So he should have taken it, and look at him now. So we'll see what happens with him. It's a big question mark. Will he be the same? Will he recover? I'm sure he will be, but we'll see what the Cowboys want to do. And Jerry Jones not really in love with him, so he can always explore. I mean, they got Dalton. Thank God they got Dalton now.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe they could take a gamble and maybe trade for the number 1 pick and get Trevor Lawrence, or who knows what they want to do with Dak. But it's right now, things are kind of a little murky with them right now.
Yeah, but you know what? You both are dancing around this, so I'm going to go ahead and make sure I put my foot on the floor here. Andy Dalton's a heck of a quarterback, and he had some success with Cincinnati with, maybe playoff teams, but they never won anything. So Jerry Jones made probably the smartest investment on the planet when he did bring in the local kid. He played at TCU, and Andy Dalton was definitely a great insurance policy for sure. And I'm really rooting for Andy Dalton to do well in Dallas. I really think he's a fine quarterback.
They lucked out with him. They were very lucky to get him, and a lot of people are like, Andy Dalton, and now they're looking like geniuses right now. So I like Andy Dalton. I think it's good, and he is from Texas. He went to TCU. So he could be I don't know. I'm not going to say he could be Tom Brady and Dak Prescott's Drew Bledsoe, but, I mean, anything can happen.
Yeah, I wouldn't go as far as saying he's a hometown hero either. But I'll tell you what, you talk about a quarterback to me who I think is a very good, strong quarterback. I've always been an admirer of Andy Dalton, Mel.
He's a solid NFL quarterback. He's got a lot of starts under his belt. If your starter goes down, that's what you want. You want somebody who's been he was a starter all up until last year. I mean, then he just so if your main guy goes down, that's the kind of guy that you want to have come in there to keep things going. Unfortunately, Dallas is probably not in the position that they really thought they would be in as far as their win-loss record, but still, they have an opportunity to compete. You have a quarterback who's played at a high level in this league. He's made the playoffs. He's made a couple Pro Bowls. So you still have a very good opportunity to salvage the season.
Okay. Well, you know what? Let's say in your backyard, Mel. Dan Quinn fired, 0-5. Raheem Morris is taking over. Matt Ryan is there. You're there, Mel. What's going on in Atlanta?
Well, Arthur Blank made a pretty weird kind of comment when asked about it, which I don't really kind of understand it in regards to Matt Ryan and his future here. He said that he hopes that Matt Ryan basically can continue to play at a high level. He believes he can play at a high level, continue to play at a high level, but that won't be his decision as to whether or not he continues to be an Atlanta Falcon. So he kind of muddied the water a little bit when he said that. And Matt Ryan's response was that, we rent the lockers, we don't own them. As far as the lockers in the locker room. But everybody kind of saw this coming. A lot of people wanted Dan Quinn fired last year. A lot of people wanted him fired the year before. A lot of people wanted him fired right after the Super Bowl. It's unfortunate. You hate to see it because there's a lot of dominoes. Families are involved and this, that, whatnot. There's a lot of things, but that's the nature of the business. I mean, it's a win now league. He's had an opportunity. People don't realize how much how much of an impact it was when Kyle Shanahan left. They wanted to try to keep basically the same offense in, but without the person who was calling the offense, Kyle Shanahan, and they allowed the quarterback coach to go with Kyle Shanahan too as well, if I'm not mistaken. What they should have done to keep some kind of continuity with that offensive scheme is kept somebody here who knew how to run that offense. They brought in Sarkisian after that. He didn't know how to run that offense. They got in Cutter right now. He doesn't know how to run that offense. So they've been trying to run that offense with somebody who doesn't know how to run that offense. And, it's cost Dan Quinn his job. Plus, defensively, they haven't been playing well. They had that little blunder in the special teams. So, team hasn't been playing well. Arthur probably is kicking himself in the behind. Wish he would have went ahead and did it last year after the season. But once, somebody got fired earlier, right before Dan Quinn. Somebody got fired before.
Bill O'Brien.
Got fired.
Yeah, I guess and I said it was only a matter of time before Arthur. He's a copycat guy. He's never the one. He's going to be the first one out there to do something, but he'll be second. So that doesn't surprise me that he did it. He waited for that to happen, and then he went ahead and made his decision.
Well, Rich McKay went on record the other day when I was watching him on one of the ESPN broadcasts. I think it was Keyshawn Johnson's program, and he had him on there. He said, and Rich McKay said, Raheem Morris has 11 games to audition for this job. So you know what? We'll see. You might have your internal candidate there. We don't know. But Rick, Dan
It'd be nice to give him a second chance because he did have a job. I mean, he had the job right before Tampa Bay.
Well, he was the head coach with Tampa. Didn't do too badly, but we'll see. He's going to get another opportunity. Sometimes guys do much better with their second opportunity. We'll see if Raheem Morris falls.
But he needs to have his own guys in there too. These aren't his guys. These are Dan Quinn's guys. He needs an opportunity with his guys, with his offensive philosophy, whatever that is, and to get his guys in there. You got Cutter in there. I mean, he might be trying to sabotage the guy. You never know because he might want the job.
No, we'll see. Right now, Raheem Morris is the interim coach, so he's the one under the microscope with the wins and losses. We'll see where it goes. But he's got 11 games to make a case for himself, right, Rick?
Yeah, I mean, this is not a big surprise. I was surprised they kept him, but they gave him another year, and they were disastrous, and they never got over that Super Bowl debacle, pretty much what it was. Losing Kyle Shanahan was huge. Sarkisian didn't work out, and it just went downhill. If I was Arthur Blank, he's a pretty smart man. He's a billionaire, co-founder of Home Depot and all that. If I was him, I would just tank this year, and it's time to tank for Trevor because it's time to get Trevor Lawrence. It's time to move on with Matt Ryan. I've never been in love with Matt Ryan. He's been okay, but it's time for him to move on. Sounds like he's ready to move on. Arthur Blanks is like, hey, it is what it is. So he doesn't seem very sold on him. And they got Raheem Morris there, who had experience as a head coach with Tampa Bay. I would just say, you know what? We need to go get Trevor Lawrence. To me, this guy's going to be a superstar. This guy is a great quarterback. He could be the future, and I would and build around him. And that's what I would do if I was. I hate to use the word tank, but I mean, pretty much you're going to have to do that if you're going to get the number one pick, and you're going to have a great quarterback like a Trevor Lawrence, who I think is going to be a superstar in the NFL.
Well, you got three teams right now that don't have any wins. We have Atlanta, you have the New York Jets, and the New York Giants, right? So, we'll see if there's an 0-16 club where the reward is Trevor Lawrence. I don't know. I mean, it's a club you don't want to be in. The Lions and the Browns are in it. We'll see if any of these other teams end up getting there. Who knows? But anyway, speaking of the Lions, I am wearing the Lions hat, at least on this broadcast, because I know Mel has, his dad played for the Lions, and that's my hometown team. And they're going to be playing up the road I-95, taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, with that said, you have Doug Marrone and the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Lions and Matt Patricia. Well, we'll ask you for predictions later, but you're talking about two teams that have 2 wins and 7 losses combined. Or what's your take, Rick, on this matchup?
To me, this is like which coach is going to keep their job next season, because I think Doug Marrone is on that bubble, possibly getting the axe next season. I think Patricia's definitely going to be gone, especially that the Lions got new ownership. I think Jim Caldwell is another good candidate out there for any team that is interested in like Texas or Atlanta. They should look at him. That's what I would do. He's a great head coach. I don't know how you can fire a guy who went 9-7. It's not like the Lions have a great history of winning Super Bowls. So, but that was a disastrous hire from them. But I'm gonna go with Jacksonville on this. I think they're a little better team. But right now, it's kind of a coin flip. It can go either way. But I'm gonna take Jacksonville in this game.
All right, Mel, what are your thoughts about the matchup? And then we'll get predictions later with the Lions and Jaguars.
I mean, it'll give somebody to get an opportunity to get their second win, obviously. Both of them are sitting here with one win at the bottom of their division. Hopefully, because I am from Detroit and I would like to see the Lions do well. Hopefully they can do something. They've been close in a couple games and just fell a little bit short. But I'd like to see the Lions do something. I still think that Patricia's job is not safe. I think once we get around to the halfway point, and they're still sitting on one loss, still sitting there with one win, rather, there might be some changes in the Motor City. But it should be an interesting game between two teams that are struggling right now to find themselves.
Well, the next 2 weeks should be interesting for Detroit. You have Jacksonville, of course, on Sunday, and then they're in your neck of the woods, Mel. They take on the Atlanta Falcons. So when you consider the fact that Atlanta's 0-5 and Jacksonville's 1-4, I don't know what's worse, finishing 1-3 going into the bye week, or losing potentially 2 games against opponents you should beat that could ultimately lead to the end of the road much quicker for Matt Patricia. So let's throw a couple of names out there for potential head coaches. Marvin Lewis, I don't know. Does he get another job at some point, Mel?
Why not?
Okay.
Yeah, why not? Marvin, he actually did a pretty good job up there in Cincinnati. You figure with, all the constraints of being in Cincinnati, he did a good job there. So, yeah, I would hope so. I'd hope that Jim Caldwell gets another opportunity, that somebody gives him another look. Some of the guys that got fired, the guy that was there at Arizona that only got 1 year, I can't think of his name, like
Wilkes. Yeah. He was a coordinator for the Panthers, yeah.
Be great for the defensive coordinator for Tampa Bay right now to get another shot. You see the Jets are just dysfunctional as it is, so you can't say it was all on him. The guy who was at Denver, the guy that was at Denver that only got 1 year or 2 years and got fired. Like to see him get another chance.
Well, here,
the enemy,
you know what?
I think the enemy is going to be a hot commodity because he is an offensive-minded coach. They do a lot of things over there creatively on the offensive side of the ball. You could really see somebody like that coming to an Atlanta with all the weapons that they have in Atlanta, and and really doing something for the Falcons. So he should definitely have not only get an opportunity, he should probably get a job this year without question.
All right, so I'll break down the 4 names. I'm glad you talked about that. Okay, Marvin Lewis, you both agree should get another opportunity, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Eric Bieniemy's a lock to go someplace. I think the most logical spot for him would be Houston, actually. No, they know him better after their playoff appearances. So to me, he would be a great hire in Houston. So we both agree that Eric Bieniemy is probably one of the hottest names out on the trail. Is that correct?
Yes, definitely.
Yes,
he'll be head coach next season.
Josh McDaniel.
He'll get a look. Again, I'm not enthusiastic about him. The Belichick Kool-Aid, people like drinking that Belichick Kool-Aid. I've been off of it for a while, but his name is always up there because he's an offensive-minded coach and because Tom Brady was there. But yeah, he'll get I don't know if he'll get a head coaching job, but he'll get many interviews.
Well, he had a chance. I'd like to see some of these guys that like Bieniemy, who has not had an opportunity, get a chance before him. And he got a chance at a pretty good franchise, I would say. Denver's a pretty good, stable franchise. So I'd like to see, obviously somebody like – but, the key with Bieniemy is he's got to make sure he goes to the right place. Just don't go somewhere just for the sake of saying I got a head coaching job.
Right.
don't take the Jets job or something like, don't take, don't take a job that's just going to be it's impossible from the start for you to be successful. Houston, I don't know what the ownership situation is there right now, but that's something that he really needs to take a look at it and make sure he's just not taking a job just to take a job, but take a job that he can be, they'll have an opportunity to be successful in. Marvin Lewis, I mean, he was at Cincinnati for a long time.
Right.
I mean, that's what you want to see, where the ownership will stick with you through thick and thin.
But Mel, my question to you is: do you think Josh McDaniel will get another head coaching job?
Yes, he will.
Okay.
Because obviously, and it's going to really depend on what they do this year. But if he's able to go from Tom Brady and to Cam Newton, kind of reinvent himself, reinvent the offense. They make the playoffs. They have a deep run in the playoffs. There's no question that he'll get another opportunity.
And the last person I want to bring up, obviously, is Jim Caldwell. So what was his bigger accomplishment, taking the Colts to the Super Bowl or winning with the Detroit Lions?
Winning with Detroit.
Yeah, right.
The Colts, he had, that was Tony Dungy's team. He still had Peyton Manning. That was before Peyton Manning got hurt, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It was the Colts. I mean, it was with the Lions. I mean, you go 9-7 and they fire you. I mean, how ridiculous is that? And this is the Lions. This is not the 49ers or Alabama. This is the Lions. No offense to the Lions, but I don't think any team could fire a coach that goes 9-7.
Well,
and look at the disaster with Matt Patricia. But again, the Belichick Kool-Aid, people like to drink it.
Yeah, well, Mel, this ought to hit you closer to home, Mel. I mean, the last full-time Lions coach that finished over 500 was a guy that your dad played for, Joe Schmidt.
Wow.
You said the last full-time Lions coach?
Last time a Lions had a coach full-time, not interim, I'm talking full-time, was Joe Schmidt, and your dad played for Joe Schmidt. So that tells you a long time.
Yeah, that's true.
Jim Caldwell did what so many coaches couldn't. Wayne Fonz was close, but he stayed 1 year too late. Had finished a little bit under 500, but he's at least responsible for the last playoff win. All right, let's take this to the college level. Nick Saban gets COVID-19. Well, we have to get to the COVID-19 stuff, and no better place to take it than Nick. Mel?
They're doing – I mean, it's inevitable. I mean, they're not in a bubble. So they're not going to be immune to this stuff. There's a lot of moving parts when you're talking about a football team. You got 85, 90 guys on scholarship, plus you got the walk-ons, you got all the coaches, you got the support staff, plus the kids. Once they leave, you don't know where they're going. I'm sure Nick is controlling himself and what he's doing, but he doesn't know what all those kids and all those other folks are doing when they leave out of there and who they're coming in contact with. So it's just inevitable, whether it's at the college level, whether it's at the professional level, it's inevitable that these kind of things are going to happen if you really don't have your arms around it like the NBA did and the National Hockey League did, right, and put these folks in a bubble.
True. Yeah, well, Nick Saban, hello world. Now you have the President of the United States got COVID-19 and Nick Saban, and both positive tests sent shockwaves around the country. Saban, to his credit, has done a wonderful job with Alabama, a proven winner, a championship caliber coach. And the President of the United States, I don't have to say a lot, he got it. That's all I am going to say. So, but they did get it, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I keep telling people, this disease, infection, does not care who you are, doesn't care how rich you are, how famous, where you live. It doesn't care. I mean, the president got it, Nick Saban got it, Prince Charles got it, Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, got it. A lot of people, I think the president of Brazil got it. People are getting it, and there are people who are doing everything they can, and they're still getting it. And then there's people who are careless, and it's just like, I mean, hey, we told you so. And unfortunately for Nick Saban, he's in Alabama there, and that governor there has not made a mask mandate there, and people there are just they don't enforce it. And so it's kind of like not a big surprise that it happened in Alabama or these southern states. They don't have these mandates to wear masks. Some of them just think it's silly, and you see people getting mask shamed all the time, which is unfortunate. and people politicize this thing so much when it's not there's nothing political about this thing. And so that's the sad part about it, is that people just think that they're immune to this, that they're being arrogant about it and just say, well, it won't happen to me. But yet, you see it happening to everyone else. So it's unfortunate. And I hope Nick Saban makes a speedy recovery. He's a great head coach. And, I just hope he makes a quick recovery from this. Everybody does.
Well, they said the way his game against Georgia this weekend, that obviously he's not going to be able to go. So he's not even allowed to have any contact with his coaches 90 minutes before the game. So Nick Saban will have to just sit there and hope and pray that Steve Sarkisian, speaking of the devil right now, who's going to be running the on-field responsibilities for him, can at least execute everything that he's told him to do before that 90-minute mark takes over. So, not allowed to go to the stadium in a press box or anything. He's just got to sit home and just watch it and keep his fingers crossed, because they don't allow you to text or to have any kind of communication with the game once the officials take control over the game. But we'll see how it works out. Some good news here in South Florida. I'm really happy to talk about this. Don Mattingly was named National League Manager of the Year by the Sporting News. He's the third manager in team history to earn the award. Freddie Gonzalez got it in 2008, and Joe Girardi, Rick Curti's favorite manager, got it in 2006. Of course, Joe Girardi got fired after winning it. But let's keep the focus on Don Mattingly. Well-deserved, right, Mel?
Oh, yeah, without question. Yeah, I mean, what they were able to do this year, and there's no question about it. They played well this year. I mean, you go from having what was they lost 100 games
105
last year.
games the year before, 31 up, 21 not.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, that's hey, that's something to build on, and look forward, and people can look forward to what they're going to be doing here in the future. That's absolutely, that's exciting. He's a good manager. He's a good manager, though.
174 roster moves. Get this, okay? 174 roster moves, 61 players used, and Don Mattingly has put this organization in a point where a very sustainable thing they've got going here. By mixing the veteran players with the younger guys, and his even-keeled temperament, to me, it makes them, I think the Marlins are fortunate that they have him for sure. So, and I know, Rick, you hated to see him leave Los Angeles.
I did. I was sad to see him go. I loved him as a baseball player. I didn't see him in his prime years, but I love him as a manager. I loved him when he was with the Dodgers. It was unfortunate that he left, but I was happy that he went. He got a job right away. So that shows you what a great manager he is. And I'm very, very happy for him. I mean, they didn't do very well last year. And this year, I mean, they were massively hit with COVID. And then you find out a lot of them were out partying and all that stuff, and he could have just went off on them. He could have lost the team, but he didn't. They used it and rallied together, made the playoffs. And to me, I said this earlier in the season that he was going to get manager of the year, so this is no big surprise to me at all.
I mean, all I can tell you is I work with him all year, and he's a great person. And he's really a super guy. I got to know him during the course of the year. It was really a privilege to work with him, and I'm looking forward to working with him going forward. So, Don Mattingly, congratulations to you. One other news note here that we'll get into some predictions, and we'll wrap up the broadcast. New Orleans Saints are looking to play their games at LSU's Tiger Stadium, Mel Farr. Good idea, bad idea. New Orleans isn't allowing any kind of fans in at the Superdome.
Yeah, I think it's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. I mean, I understand what it is that they're trying to do. I know that the University of Florida, they wanted to play in front of fans as well, and I think a lot of their players have gotten COVID now.
Yeah.
But Mullins was talking about that. I mean, I just think you just got to be patient, man. You got to be patient. We can't rush this thing. The last thing you want to do, I mean, I understand they're trying to get an edge. Maybe his team is his team isn't playing that well. So their team's not playing that well right now. So they're trying to figure out, maybe they need some energy from a crowd, and maybe that'll help them, to perform a little bit better. But hey, they're all dealing with this pretty much. So, I mean, obviously there's some fans in some states, and other states they have absolutely no fans. But no, I absolutely think it's a bad idea.
Right.
Terrible idea. I mean, it's just shocking to see fans at a college game, just like with Texas A&M and Dan Mullen was complaining that that's why they lost over there was because of the fans, and he wanted to have like 70,000 fans at the Florida game. And I think the governor there said, yeah, we can do something like that. So, I mean, it's craziness that some of these governors are allowing like full capacity when thousands of people are dying from this disease, and people are just thinking it's a hoax, or it's not to be taken seriously. So no team should have any fans whatsoever at all. It's just dangerous. And why are you going to risk your life for a game? Just stay home and watch it on TV, for Pete's sakes.
I agree. All right, we're only going to recap one game last week, and we have a good reason why we should. The Tennessee Titans beat Buffalo 42-16, but I think the big play in this game was when Derrick Henry had that big stiff arm and flattened Josh Norman. Mel, you played the running back position. Is that one of the best straight arms you've ever seen to flatten another player like he did?
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's embarrassing for Josh Newman. Picked him up off his feet, and looked like a little kid, like a little rag doll.
Didn't he?
Derrick Henry, if you go back and watch some of his high school film, I mean, this isn't new. I mean, that's what he's been doing. He's been doing that, whether it was in high school, college, and now he's continuing to do the same thing in the pros because he's so much bigger than those guys.
Yeah.
When he gets outside there, it's a business decision for a defensive back. Now, I don't think that Josh Norman was really coming up there trying to do much anyway. You can't tackle him up high like that. I mean, so I don't know what he was trying to do, but he's, what he ended up doing is really embarrassing himself. I mean, that's not good looking at on film when you go back in there and you watch the game tape the following day and you look at that play. I mean, the effort, technique, everything was just bad.
Okay, well, can you imagine the heat he took from not only his coaches but his teammates as well?
That's the worst. Yeah, his teammates. And now, we live in the social media. I mean, everybody saw that. So, I mean, they're probably killing him on social media too.
Yeah, I can only imagine. All right, Rick, some thoughts about that.
Oh, I thought it was great. I remember when he was at the Panthers and everything, he had such a big mouth and it was all about him. And then he went to the Redskins for more money. And I said, he ain't going to last there very long. And he didn't. And now he looked like a little kid being tossed over by Henry, who I believe is the best running back in the NFL. So I kind of giggled at it. I said, well, he's kind of like, to me, Norman was like Chad Johnson and Revis, who had these big, people want to say big personalities. To me, they had a big mouth, and sometimes hey, things like that happen to you. But don't mess with Derrick Henry. But at least he's not with the Jets, and at least he's not with the Giants, who are now a combined 0-10. And what's funny about that is that the last New York pro football team to win a game was the New York Guardians of the XFL. So how sad is that for both New York teams?
Doesn't look good, Mel?
No, not at all. I see that Le'Veon Bell is going to sign with the Kansas City Chiefs, so the rich keep getting richer.
Yeah. All right, so now that you brought that up, what are your thoughts about Le'Veon Bell? Is that a good fit for him in Kansas City?
Yeah, I think so. They like to throw the ball to the running back. He's obviously very skilled at catching the ball out of the backfield. I think he'll do well there. I mean, I don't think he should have ever left Pittsburgh. He was in a great situation there, but wasn't happy. They were going to pay him plenty of money too to stay there, but he's fine. I think he's finding out the grass isn't greener on the other side of the fence, and obviously, Pittsburgh, they don't want him back now. So I think it'll be good for him. I mean, they got a lot of backs over there. The problem they're having with the rookie is on the goal line, he just didn't have enough bricks in his pants to plunge it in there when they got down there close. So they need a bigger back to be able to take advantage of those scoring opportunities when they get, first and goal inside the 5. So I think it'll work out well for him.
Yeah, well, you're right. I feel he did burn his bridges in Pittsburgh, and that was a bad decision to go. But you know what? Andy Reid's got him, so it's just another weapon for Patrick Mahomes. So, all right, Rick, some thoughts about Bell before we go to some football games.
Well, he wore his welcome just like Antonio Brown. I mean, Deluja, a great running back and a great wide receiver, and to luck out on that was Pittsburgh. So kudos to them for getting rid of those two clowns. And Le'Veon Bell wasn't a big surprise. He didn't do well with the Jets. To me, the Jets, if you want to end your career, you go to the Jets. It used to be the Browns, now it's the Jets. And now he's going to a team where they won a Super Bowl. They're fully loaded. He doesn't have to do much there. So, I mean, it's a good situation, I mean, going to a 0-5 team to going to a Super Bowl team, yeah, it's a better situation.
All right, we're going to talk 6 football games, and we'll wrap it up. No Thursday games, believe it or not, though. The national televised primetime games will be on Monday night. But we'll got to start off with the Detroit Lions and Jacksonville Jaguars. Lions going to the game 1-3, Jacksonville 1-4. All right, Rick, give me a score.
Yeah, this is like a coin flip. I mean, anything can go. To me, this is a battle. Who's going to keep their job next season? Like I said, I think Patricia's gone. Doug Marrone, I would not be surprised if he's gone. His job is very much in jeopardy. But I'm going to go with Jacksonville on this, just by a little bit. I have it like, I'm going to say like 17-10. It's not going to be a very good game. It's a low-scoring game. I think it's going to be a sloppy game, but I'll give the nod to Jacksonville.
Mel?
Yeah, as much as I would like for the Lions to win, I'm going to have to say Jacksonville too. Yeah, it's probably not going to be pretty, but, 21-14, Jacksonville.
Yeah, I'm wearing a Lions hat doesn't mean I'm going to pick the Lions, just so I'm just showing the colors here. But I definitely have to admit I do believe Jacksonville's going to win this one too. I mean, and I believe that you're looking at 21-17. 21-17, maybe 24-17. Either way, I think James Robinson will be the key for Jacksonville, the running back. So, I think it's unanimous at Jacksonville. Even though I'm wearing the Lions, doesn't matter. The games in Jacksonville, they play each other once every 4 years, and then once every 8 years at one another's place. So Jacksonville all the way, as far as I'm concerned, despite the hat. All right, Green Bay Packers, Tampa Bay Bucks for an NFC North Division battle, as Chris Berman would say. Tom Brady against Aaron Rodgers. This one's a good one, really good one. Mel, you start.
I mean, that's kind of tough. Where are they playing?
Playing in Tampa.
Playing in Tampa. I think everybody's kind of figured out what you need to do with Tom Brady. You got to kind of rush him up the gut, get him uncomfortable in the pocket. You're not really worried about those edge rushers so much. You're really worried about trying to get some pressure, trying to get him to move his feet to the side one way or the other. I like Bruce Arians as much as I'd like to, say Tampa Bay could probably pull this one out. I think that Aaron Rodgers and I think that defense up there is probably going to – I think they're going to probably cause Tampa Bay a lot of fits. I think that Green Bay will win this game 34-24.
Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, I have the same way. Aaron Rodgers on a roll right now. Green Bay's looking good. I think Father Time might be catching up to Tom a little bit. I mean, you got to understand he's 43 years old, and for him to be a quarterback at that age is remarkable enough. But I think Father Time, it gets the best of everybody. It might be getting to Tom Brady and Tampa Bay right now. On paper they look great, but right now they've just been kind of like very up and down. They look good 1 minute and next they don't look very good. It is in Tampa Bay, but I think Green Bay's a better team, and I love Aaron Rodgers. I love how he's playing. He's an MVP candidate right now, and I have I have Green Bay winning like I would say like 28-21. I think it'll be a close game, but I think they'll pull it out at the end.
I'm going to go Green Bay too, 33-25. Different score. I still think that, to me, Aaron Rodgers. He's gotten used to all his weapons. Nobody knew who his weapons were, but he knew who they were. So all this nonsense about everybody saying, why didn't the Packers draft a wide receiver? Give me a break. You know what? The Packers personnel department's been figuring it out for years so they don't have to bring in the old splashy draft choice. And yet, this is Rodgers' second year with Matt LaFleur. So I see Green Bay improving to 5-0. We're both unanimous on these first couple. So I don't know how unanimous will be on the next one, though. Cleveland 4-1 against Pittsburgh 4-0. This is a very interesting matchup to the extent that this is the first time Cleveland has started 4-1 since Bill Belichick was there. And Myles Garrett got run out of the building last time and ended up getting suspended for the rest of the year for Cleveland. But it looks like I wouldn't be surprised to see Myles Garrett tone it down a little. I think this is going to be the best football game of the week. So, all right, Mel.
Yeah, I think, Chubb is still hurt. I mean, they're running the football very well. I mean, they're taking the ball out of Baker Mayfield's hands, Cleveland is, and, running the football, establishing a run, playing good defense, but still, I like the Steelers. They're playing good defense as well over there. They're running the football a little bit. I can't remember. I think James Conner might be a little banged up, but I'm sure Ben, he's excited to get back and have an opportunity to play against Cleveland since he missed out on it last year. I look for. I think that Pittsburgh wins this game, 21-17.
Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, I have Pittsburgh as well. I know a lot of people want to give a lot of nod to Cleveland, but not me. They're still the Cleveland Browns to me, and they started like this before red hot, and they didn't finish so hot in the second half. And I think they're going to flame out again because they're the Cleveland Browns, and I'm never going to bet against the Steelers or Roethlisberger or Mike Tomlin. Great, to me, Tomlin's just a very underrated coach. He doesn't get the respect from other people. You always want to hear him getting fired, and he's a great coach. And I love Roethlisberger, Hall of Famer, and like I said, they're the Browns. So I'm going I'm going with Pittsburgh in this, and I have it 31-17. I don't think it's going to be close.
Yeah, I like Pittsburgh too. I like 27-20 in favor of Pittsburgh. I do. Well, I don't trust Cleveland yet. Just don't. I think they're certainly an improved team, but they're not going to win in Pittsburgh. All right, we're gonna go in your backyard, Rick. You got Chicago Bears 4-1 against Carolina 3-2. This will be one of the better matchups of the weekend. So, does Teddy Bridgewater get the best of Nick Foles?
That is going to be a tough test for them because they have been playing so good right now with Bridgewater. Matt Rule to me is a candidate for Coach of the Year right now. I mean, everyone thought they were going to tank to get Trevor Lawrence, and people here are kind of bummed out that they're playing so well. But Chicago's defense is really good, and I think Chicago's improved dramatically with Nick Foles. I've never was sold on Trubisky at all. It was a weak quarterback draft, and that's why they got him. And I think his days at Chicago are done. But I actually do like Chicago in this. I don't think the Panthers are quite there yet, but they are an improved team. They're much better. But I like Chicago in this one, and I have it like 24. I think 24-21. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think Chicago will pull it out.
What about you, Mel?
I like Chicago because of their defense, and obviously they've upgraded the quarterback position. I think they've gotten better just by sitting Trubisky down, and I was never a Trubisky fan, and so I think they've gotten better by sitting him down and going with Nick Foles, and because of their defense, I look at 17-10 Chicago.
Yeah, I'm going to go Chicago too, but 21-17. So, okay, 2 more games to go. We'll talk about Monday night, Kansas City Chiefs against Buffalo. The game's in Buffalo, 5:00 start. Kansas City. All right, I'll lead off on this one. I think the Kansas City Chiefs are mad. They're really mad after losing to the Raiders the way they did. So I'm going to actually, I believe that even though the game's in Buffalo, I can definitely see Kansas City winning by 10. I'll just say 30-20.
Yeah, Kansas City's mad. Buffalo's mad. You got 2 teams that are angry. 2 teams. I think that a lot of people expected a lot more from Buffalo when they played Tennessee this week. And Tennessee ended up handling, taking care of them pretty handily. So both teams are mad, but I still like Kansas City in this game as well. I think they're a little bit more upset. Like I said, something's been, off to me about Patrick Mahomes for some reason. Maybe, he gets his head back in the deal and he gets out there and he's the guy that we've been watching the last couple of years. But I do believe that they'll get back on the winning side of this deal. I think it'll be 34-27.
Yeah, no Le'Veon Bell this week. He has to go 5 days. So first action he'll end up seeing will be not this Sunday, but after that. All right, Rick, go ahead.
Yeah, I have Kansas City in this as well. I don't think Buffalo's a good team. I just don't see them being like a great team right now. And I'm not going to go against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and the Chiefs. They're on a roll right now. They got Le'Veon Bell. And, yeah, they are very angry with that loss to the Las Vegas Raiders. And so I have them winning like 35, like 28. I think it'll be a shootout, but I think Patrick Mahomes gonna have a big game, and I think I have Kansas City winning this game.
And the last game we're going to talk about tonight, Arizona's at Dallas. Arizona's 3-2, Dallas 2-3. You know what? Dallas could very well win this division. It's very there for the taking because there are a lot of bad teams. But all right, Mel, lead it off.
Yeah, this is a tough one here. I mean, they're coming off the week when obviously they lost their quarterback. They just have not been playing very well at all. Just haven't been playing very well at all. I'm gonna go with Arizona and 27-24.
Rick?
Yeah, both teams have been a big disappointment. I think a lot of people expected a lot from the Cardinals, and they've just not been that good. And of course, the Cowboys, now they lost Prescott. I think their biggest issues are defense. Their defense has been horrible this season, But this is a toss up for me. I'm gonna go with Dallas because I just don't think the Cardinals are that good. I don't like Kingsbury at all, the head coach, and they're just not as good as we all thought they were. So I'm gonna have them 27-17 Cowboys.
Yeah, you know what? For some reason, my gut feeling tells me to go Dallas here. I'm looking forward to see how Andy Dalton, and don't forget he does have Ezekiel Elliott. He has Amari Cooper, and he has some good wideouts. And I'm going to give the Cowboys the benefit of the doubt on this. I like the Cowboys winning 27-20. There you go. Those are our 6 main games. So with that said, guys, have a great broadcast tonight. So let's go ahead and let Rick lead off. Let people know how they can go get a hold of you.
Well, my website is www.charlottebats.com. I'm also on Facebook at Charlotte MLB. I also have another page on there called Charlotte Bats Baseball. I'm also on Twitter at Charlotte Bats Baseball. I'm on Instagram at Charlotte Bats. And I'm also on LinkedIn under Rick Curti, Curti, and you can contact me on any of those social media websites.
And, of course, I should point out Rick does a really great job helping us promote on social media as well. We thank you very much. So, Mel, go ahead.
Yeah, I can be reached on all the social media sites at Mel Farr Jr. That's Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. Mel Farr Jr. Email is melfarjr@gmail.com. And our website is melfarr.org. That kind of gives you an idea of what we do here in the city of Atlanta and also in Detroit for the youth.
And I got to show my blue microphone, okay, because it goes with the hat. Okay, but just so you know, okay, you can find the Sports Exchange. If you want to listen to the audio version, feel free to do so at Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. I'll go over it again. Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. In terms of getting a hold of us, you can follow us at Twitter at Tribune South. And once again, I'll repeat that Twitter note again, at Tribune South. Facebook and Instagram, South Florida Tribune. We also have our YouTube channel for which you are watching this broadcast. And by subscribing to our YouTube channel, you also have access to shows like the Sports Exchange, No Limits, 108 Stitches Baseball Talk, Real and Rare, Fantasy Football, which follows this broadcast, as well as the South Florida Tribune podcast. They have a lot of different shows with other interests in and out of the sports world. Our website is www.southfloridatribune.com. You'll find that we have a section for the Motor City Monitor, where we get a lot of Detroit content that goes to our website. We also have our media distribution partners that send us stuff, as well as our columnists, and and of course our broadcasts through WSAN are also on the website as well. You can email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. Any suggestions or whatever you want us to do, we'll be more than happy to go out there. And if we get any suggestions or ideas, we'll certainly mention your name on here. And of course, if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, Scott Morganroth gets it done. So Rick Curti, why don't you close out the broadcast with your COVID message, and then we'll get ready to do it again next week.
Guys, every week, it seems like somebody's getting it. First, the President of the United States, Nick Saban. This thing doesn't care how rich, how famous, how poor, where you live, how tall, how good looking. It don't matter. Please, please, please wear a mask, wash your hands, stop doing stupid things by going to big parties or large gatherings. And the mask shaming needs to stop with people. People who wear masks are being mask shamed by people who think this is all a hoax and this is a joke. It is not a joke. Thousands of people are dying every single day of this pandemic, and we just need to get better. Other countries are improving, and yet we're number one. I think India and Iran are like next to us, which is sad, but we're leading in all this, and we have just been very, very poor and very bad at this. Just please, please, please think of others and wear a mask.
Yeah, lots of big events continue to get canceled. Now the pro football and college football world being humbled by what we all expected. Thankfully, baseball has still been able to stick it out, and like Mel alluded to, the NHL and the NBA did an unbelievable job the way they mastered their bubbles. On behalf of Mel Farr Jr. and Rick Curti, my name is Scott Morgan, out the Motor City Mad Mouth. Thank you for joining us on this edition of the Sports Exchange, and we will see you the next time. Good night, everybody.